Hey, it's Chris. Today we're talking about iPads in 2024. More specifically, is there something for iPad fans, iPad users hoping to upgrade to get something new in 2024 to look forward to? Well, the answer is yeah, probably so. We're gonna start today off by talking about the iPad Pro, and we're gonna work our way down the lineup. Rumor has it that Apple's top of the line iPad Pro is due for a quote major refresh, an overhaul, so to speak, in 2024. What does that mean? Well, for starters, that means we're gonna look at an M3 chip inside of the iPad Pro. Some people are gonna be like, about time. Other people are gonna be like, so what? Where are the apps that I can make use of all this power? Well, here's the thing. It's not just about the software. I mean, it is about the software, but it's also about improved battery life. And I know this is a big deal for people right now. When Apple drops the latest Apple Silicon inside the iPad Pro, not only are you gonna see a boost in multitasking performance and a boost in speed, you're also gonna see a boost in efficiency. And for a lot of people, that is the key word, because right now, their iPad Pro is holding like 3 hours worth of battery or something. And for them, the biggest thing is having a battery that lasts longer. At the moment, the Pros are supposed to get up to 10 hours of surfing the web or using Wi-Fi or watching videos. And yet I feel like I'm starting to make decisions when I'm looking at my Mac or my iPad, which one to use, which one to bring with me, for instance, because I know my iPad is gonna run out of juice faster than I would like it to. So I'm all for upgrading the current M2 to the M3 in the Pros. But I'm also excited because the rumors are saying we may see OLED displays. Right now, you can get an iPad Pro with a mini LED display, which I gotta be honest, I've talked about a lot on the channel and I've said I like the mini LEDs. Things look pretty good, but not as good as OLED. I mean, that's just how things go. OLED is the best. The current 12.9 inch with the Liquid Retina XDR, it is bright, colors do look good, things are sharp, and there's no denying that on the OLEDs you just get deeper blacks, which then make the colors pop all that much more. And that's one thing that the mini LED has suffered from, a little bit of a ghosting effect around the edges of maybe white text on a black screen at the beginning or end of a movie, for instance, if you're watching in a dark room. So it's not perfect, it can improve. And because the iPad is basically a slab of glass that you can touch, that can transform and kind of shape shift and become more laptop-like if you want it to, or reshape back into more of a tablet function. One of the best things that you can do to improve the iPad is to improve the display, the glass, which hopefully then creates a trickle-down effect where all the other iPads then inherit some of the better technology from the iPads that were above them before. Now, one of the other big advantages that the iPad Pro already enjoyed was a bigger version, the 12.9 inch. If the rumors are correct, then the 12.9 inch is gonna get even a little bigger and become a 13 or 13 point something inch. Well, 12.9 inch, 13 inches, is that gonna make much of a difference at all? Doesn't sound like a big difference. Well, it probably is going to come down to the bezels. If you shrink the bezels enough, it may feel like a significant upgrade. And it may not. Now, in 2024, is that enough to make the ultimate iPad continue to feel like it's the ultimate experience? I mean, when I hook it up to the studio display, it already feels pretty ultimate. I get a lot of comments from people where I show the iPad hooked up to the studio display saying, wow, what a gorgeous setup. That's what I'm after. One big question a lot of people have is, where is the camera on the front of the new iPad Pro actually going to live? Is it going to be moved so that it makes more sense on a horizontal setup where most people have it mounted to their Magic Keyboard? Hopefully. I think we can definitely expect some upgrades to the camera specs on the Pro, because for every one person out there who's like, why does this thing even have cameras? I never use them. I don't even care. There's somebody else out there who actually makes use of them, who appreciates higher quality specs, because everybody's different, especially when they're using the iPad. There's so many different use cases that it's hard to just say, well, this is what an iPad is for, right? It's a very personal thing, and I think a lot of people are gonna start making more use of that LiDAR sensor as more AR and AI creative tools come to market to let regular consumers start manipulating AR and AI objects. One interesting rumor says we might get up to 4 terabytes of storage as an option on the new iPad Pros. Now that'd be crazy. Right now you can go up to 1 terabyte, and a lot of people said, well, who would use that? That's way too much. But now that Final Cut Pro and some other Pro apps are here for the iPad, more storage just makes more sense for the Pros. Because personally, it doesn't matter if I'm on a Mac or an iPad. If I'm portable and I'm going somewhere, I don't wanna bring an extra drive. I wanna put all of my content libraries on my actual device. It's so much easier to travel that way. Another interesting rumor though says the iPad Pro might get wireless charging. Now, The rumors have been back and forth here. Some said Apple was testing a glass back iPad Pro, but it was too fragile, so they scrapped it. But could Apple bring MagSafe to the back of the iPad? I guess that's completely possible, which is interesting all on its own, but does that also mean that we could see some reverse wireless charging as part of this? That might be interesting, right? When you're not using your AirPods, you could charge them up, but then I'm not sure that I would want to waste my iPad Pro's precious battery life. If you haven't checked out my course, Learning to be Productive, now's a great time to unlock your productivity so you can finish the year strong. But we actually have another course, Learning to Build a Successful Side Hustle, which goes on sale for Black Friday early, starting today, so you can get an amazing deal there if you need to put some extra cash in your pocket for the coming year. I'm gonna link those both up down below for you. Well, actually, another thing we're expecting is a new version of the Magic Keyboard. Specifically, we're expecting a larger trackpad. And I have to tell you, after messing around with the new 16-inch MacBook Pro with its enormous trackpad, I'm reminded just how nice, how luxurious a larger trackpad really does feel. And it's always felt a little bit cramped on the iPad Pro. What the actual rumor says is that it's gonna look more like a laptop setup and will be made out of aluminum, even while the exterior shell would remain a silicone cover. Now, I like the current floaty Magic Keyboard design, but maybe that's not feasible for some of the features that people have been asking for. So maybe that's why Apple's headed down this route, if indeed this is the route it's headed down. The other big question mark is what the typing experience is gonna feel like. The rumor says that that is going to be improved too. If you've watched any iPad Pro content on this channel in the past, you know that I've sung the praises of the Magic Keyboard, which differs from what some other reviewers have said, even some others named Chris. I really love the way that the keys feel right now on the current Magic Keyboard in terms of key travel, the sound, all of that. That said, I've been very clear that I don't feel like the design is 100% perfected at the moment. Number one, give me some function keys. I know a lot of people have been wanting that, and if you go a little bigger to a 13-inch model, maybe you end up having room for those keys without having to hit your fingers on the bottom of the iPad itself with that swivel design. Maybe you'll have some room there, I don't know. The only big question in my mind is the weight of a new Magic Keyboard. It's already heavy, so I don't want any great new features to necessarily come at the expense of weight. I wanna keep it as light as possible, especially if the thing itself is getting a little bigger. But I'm not sure what I'd be more excited about, a new Magic Keyboard or a new Apple Pencil. What would the pros like? Would it be interchangeable magnetic tips as has been rumored? Or is it just new colors? Or does Apple consider this thing perfected as is? I really don't know, but I feel like the Apple Pencil is one of the things that makes the iPad so worth it for me. I use it all the time. I use the Magic Keyboard all the time, use the Apple Pencil all the time. I really like the iPad. So whatever's coming down the line, I'm just gonna be super excited about. Well, let's talk a little bit about the iPad Air. That is rumored to be getting a little bit larger as well, where we might see a 12.9-inch version of the Air. So if you've always wanted a larger display, but you didn't wanna pay the Pro pricing, then I think a lot of people are gonna be very excited about a larger iPad Air. The current iPad Air is already such a great device for media consumption, for creative work, for multitasking. Not everybody in the world needs a ton of storage or is gonna run Logic or Final Cut or DaVinci. For a lot of people, they just want the Apple Pencil on a bigger screen so they can use freeform, so they can do note-taking and sketching or creative artwork. So a bigger version of the iPad Air would be key for a lot of people, but what's not really expected to change is the design language, how the thing looks. The overall aesthetics, those are expected to basically be retained as they are now. Now the iPad Air is also expected to see a jump in the processor department, not as big of a jump as the iPad Pro. At the end of the day, I think people will probably end up calling it an incremental upgrade over the current M1. But I also think that the target consumer here for the iPad Air really isn't gonna be paying all that much attention to the processor. Otherwise, they'd be going with the Pro. Is the new Magic Keyboard gonna be exclusive to the iPad Pro, or is it also gonna come to the iPad Air, which now also uses the Magic Keyboard? That I don't know. If I had to guess, I would guess that the Pro is gonna have a better Magic Keyboard next year than the Air, but that's just a guess. A lot of people actually consider the iPad mini the truest version of an iPad that currently exists. Within the iPad lineup itself, Apple bills it as the full iPad experience designed to fit in a hand, And that's the thing, Apple doesn't sell a keyboard that you can hook up to this. It's just meant to be an awesome tablet. And it is, except for the jelly scrolling, which some people notice and some don't. That is set to get fixed with the Mini 7, which, as you can see, you can already run crazy apps like LumaFusion to do some really nice projects, video editing, for instance, but it's also set to get an upgrade in the processor department. And you might be wondering, well, what's the size of the Mini 7 gonna be? Because Apple's bringing a bigger version of the Air, a bigger version of the Pro. Well, right now, Apple's still focused on portability. From all the rumors, they're gonna maintain the compact size, but boost the power. Other than a performance boost, other than fixing the jelly scrolling, the rumors aren't saying a whole lot about what the iPad Mini 7 is going to be. Maybe they're gonna bring Face ID instead of Touch ID, I don't know. And the funny thing is, I don't even care all that much. The iPad Mini 6 was almost perfect. I know a lot of people would like to see Stage Manager come to the iPad Mini, which isn't technically possible on a non-M1 chip. So it's not like the Mini experience can't be enhanced. It can. It's just that it's already so good, what do you do? And that's a little bit less obvious. I've pushed the Mini in all kinds of directions. I've kind of made a mini desk setup out of it where I've hooked it up with a keyboard and really tried to get all my work done on it. I tested that out, and I've also just used it on the consumption side. My favorite use is actually with the Apple Pencil because it's like the perfect notepad size device. I really like to write on the iPad Mini. So bring me Stage Manager, shrink the bezels, get rid of the jelly scrolling, throw in a surprise or two, and Chris is a happy customer. What we do know is that 2023 was kind of a down year for the iPad in terms of stuff to get excited about. We saw people posting videos like the iPad is dead, to which I made a response to, which you should check out. I'll link it up down below, or you can just search for it, because the iPad is most certainly not dead, and you have lots of people like me who are super excited for the future of the iPad. One thing we haven't even talked about yet in this video, because we've mostly been focusing on hardware, is software. And the rumors are that iOS and iPadOS 18 are going to be huge versus iPadOS 17, iPadOS 16. The last few releases of iOS and iPadOS have had some genuinely useful, interesting, cool features, but they haven't been just earth-shattering, like jaw-dropping, oh wow sort of features. They've been like, oh yeah, that's cool. So keep that in mind. The next WWDC could be bananas in terms of the cool new features that we get. So we get new hardware and we get some great new software. Yeah, the iPad is shaping up to be really cool in 2024. I can't wait. Don't forget to check out the course. Don't forget to get in on that early Black Friday sale for the Side Hustle course. It's some life-changing information at a life-changing price. This is a great time to get your first side hustle out the door for an amazing 2024. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you're excited about for the new iPad lineup, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.